Okay, I'm back with my recap review of TNA Impact for February 16th, 2012. This was a pretty good Impact. Not much to complain about here. They had some good matches on this show. They did a lot of good stuff. Um, the big news, Vince Russo, I guess he quit the company. So, not much else is known yet. Is this going to be enough to save TNA? I mean, is it too little too late? If things get worse, then or stay the same, then maybe everybody was mad at the wrong guy. I think any change couldn't hurt TNA right now. I mean, change can be a good thing for them. Um, but getting rid of just Russo, they still got Hogan and Bischoff there, and they're just selfish egomaniacs. And I don't think they really care about TNA. They only care about pushing Garrett Bischoff right now for some retarded reason. So we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, Vince Russo did leave the company. But back to tonight's Impact. I liked the show. I thought they did a lot of good stuff. They start off with a recap of Against All Odds. Bobby Roode comes out and he has Christy Hemme announce him again. He does some heel stuff. Says he beat Storm, Hardy, and Bully, and it was sweet to look at Sting raise his hand in victory. Sting's always trying to screw him, but he played him. Says Sting can try all he wants, but there's nothing he can do about it. Sting comes out and says that Hardy's the one who got screwed at Against All Odds, and he let his anger get the best of him, and he's here tonight to make it right with Jeff Hardy. So he books a title match for Bobby Roode versus Jeff Hardy, and he says it's going to be no time limit, no disqualification, and it starts right after the break. So right after the break, we get Jeff Hardy versus Roode, and this was a pretty good match. I mean, um, almost for television, it was good. I don't know if it was quite pay-per-view level, but they did some good stuff here. Jeff Hardy comes out and he's wearing his eyelids have paint on them, so when he closes his eyes, it looks like this weird face. I guess that's his new thing he's doing. And it was a pretty good match. Roode took some good bumps here. He gets suplexed onto the outside. At one point, Hardy slams a chair onto his back. He gets thrown into the steps a lot. And basically, Hardy is dominating this match. And it looks like he's about to win, and he throws Roode into the ring, and Kurt Angle comes down. And it's no DQ, so Kurt Angle attacks Hardy, throws him into the steps, throws him into the ring, and Roode hits him with a spear, getting the win and keeping the title. This was a good match. I like this. Backstage, Bobby Roode says, "How many chances does the Hardy need?" Sting tries to screw him, but he outsmarts him every time. Sting comes and says, "You're not done, and I got two guys who are interested in taking you out." So, Eric Young is backstage with a guitar, and he says he forgot to get OTB a Valentine's present, but he's got something special for her later. They talk to Sting again. He says he wants to get to the bottom of this world title match, and he's talking to two people who we don't see, and then it shows them it's Storm and Bully Ray, and he asks if they're in, and they say yes. So Bully Ray versus James Storm later tonight for the number one contendership. They then show this thing across the screen that says viewer discretion, graphic content, and they recap poor Jesse Sorensen getting injured. This is just horrible. Sucks for the kid. Mike Tenay is talking about the injury, and he says it's a miracle that he's gaining more and more feeling and motion throughout his body every day, and they're going to continue with updates in the following weeks. Then they have a match with Zema Ion and Austin Aries versus Alex Shelley and Shannon Moore. This was another good match. Zema Ion looked awesome in this match. I think he's really good. Him and Austin Aries aren't on the same page. They kind of argue a bit, and they both slap each other when they tag each other in. At one point, Shannon uses Zema Ion's hairspray on his mohawk, and Zima comes and hits him with a drop kick baseball slide dive and says, "Nobody touches my hairspray." And I thought that was pretty good. I mean, he's using the hairspray thing. He's trying to come up with a good heel character, and I think it's working for him. It's not bad. I've seen worse. Austin Aries is wrestling Shelly, and Zima tags himself in, but Austin Aries doesn't notice. He picks Shelly up for the brainbuster. Shelly gets out, but Zima catches him in a roll-up and gets the win. So Zima is the number one contender for the X Division Championship, so I think they're going to start building towards Austin Aries versus Zima Ion. Gail Kim and Madison Rayne are backstage. Madison says, "We've both been under a lot of pressure, but we're still friends. I don't want to fight anymore." And Gail says, "I'm glad you understand, what this friendship's about." And they go to a Knockouts Battle Royal for the number one contendership of the Knockouts title. Couple things. ODB gets pyro. No one else got pyro. But I like ODB, so I'm cool with that. Madison comes out with Gail, and she says that Gail is a gracious champion. She's giving each knockout here an opportunity. The knockouts in the Battle Royal are Rosita and Sarita, Angelina Love and Winter, Tara, Brooke Tessmacher, Velvet Sky, ODB, and Mickie James. This was a pretty good Battle Royal for the knockouts. Velvet fights off. The final three are Velvet, Angelina, and Sarita. Velvet's fighting them both off. Eventually, Velvet eliminates all the girls, and it looks like she's the last one, so she's the winner. But then all of a sudden, Madison Rayne runs in and eliminates Velvet. Gail Kim's freaking out, saying, "What are you doing?" And Madison basically stole the Battle Royal, and she's going to face Gail Kim now. So Madison won. Then they have a promo backstage with James Storm, and he's talking about how he's going to wrestle Bully Ray, who's a really tough competitor. He's a guy who would just punch you right in the face. He gets mad and he punches a wall. I just thought that was kind of random, but he says he's going to be the only one standing later. They do a promo with Joe, Samoa Joe, and Magnus. They got the belts. They say it feels good and it feels right for them to have the belts because they are the best. Magnus says they beat a 7-foot giant and someone who is undefeated. And they're going to have a rematch next week on Impact against Matt Morgan and Crimson. I hope they beat them and just get rid of Matt Morgan and Crimson. Let them go back to fighting each other for all I care, but I do not want to see them do anything else. They recap Gunner versus Garrett Bischoff. Bischoff and Gunner come out with Flair and Chelsea. I believe Chelsea was a valet for Desmond Wolfe. Well, she's back now with Ric Flair for some reason. Bischoff comes out and he thanks Gunner, Flair, and Chelsea. I don't know. He thanks her. He says that Gunner put an end to Garrett's goal of becoming a wrestler. He brings out some champagne and cigars. Eric says that Garrett can never accomplish what he has, and he should be a dog catcher or an electrician and should never set foot in his business. He says, "Good luck in your future endeavors." Good line. Good promo all around, I guess. There was no Garrett Bischoff on this show, thank God, so that was a plus. Bully shows off his calves backstage and says he should still be the champion, or he should be the champion. Says he got screwed. Says he's going to go through Storm tonight and then he's going to go after Rude. Christie's interviewing some MMA live host or something backstage. Then we go to Eric Young backstage and he sings a song for ODB. I didn't think this was very funny. I've got no problem. I'm not one of those people who hate on Eric Young for only doing comedy. I like Eric Young. I like ODB. I think they're funny segments. I got no problem with them. But this segment just was not very funny. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. This one was not funny. Bully Ray comes out to the ring and he tears up a fan sign, tries to get some heat. Storm comes out. James Storm gets pyro. The reason I like to note that is because so few people in TNA get pyro that when someone actually does, I like to mention it. I think it's a big deal. That may just be me. But they do Bully Ray versus James Storm for the #1 contendership. Uh, Bully actually trips Earl Hebner at one point. It looked like a botch to me. Bully takes off James Storm's boot and he starts to work over his leg. He eventually rips off everything on James Storm's left leg, even revealing a tattoo. So apparently he's got a tattoo on his left leg, and it just looked weird to see him out there like that with his left leg completely exposed, no knee pad, nothing. He had like a little sock dangling off his foot, and it just looked like he was naked or something out there. It was kind of bizarre. But I thought maybe he would rip off the equipment so that James Storm couldn't hit him with the super kick. But he used the left leg. Like, he took off all the equipment on the left leg. So if he's going to do that, he should have done the right leg, but Storm hits him with the super kick anyway and gets the win. So, I don't know. He should have worked on the right leg, I guess, right? But it was a pretty decent match. It was okay. I wasn't bored or anything. Bully Ray was a great heel. At one point, he blew a snot rocket on Earl Hebner. I thought that was funny. I mean, he just knows what to do to be a heel. So Storm wins. He's the #1 contender. There's a football guy out there. I think Brendan Jacobs of the New York Giants. And he's been watching the show, and they always cut over to him to see his reactions and stuff. And after this match, Storm goes out there and he shares a beer with him. But Bully Ray cheap shots Storm from behind. He grabs the football guy's beer and he spits the beer in his face. Brendan Jacobs pushes Bully down. And all of a sudden, all the officials come and James Storm, and they're trying to hold the guy back. They got Al Snow, D'Lo Brown out there. Backstage, Storm and Brendan Jacobs are talking about how he came to support Storm. Storm beat Bully Ray. Says Bully was over the line, or out of line when he spit the beer in his face, and he just had to go off on him. And then they say that next week on Impact, it's going to be payback, he says. So I guess this football guy is going to be there next week too. I don't really like that. I don't like it when they bring in people who can't work. But, you know, they're trying to do stuff to get ratings, I guess. So it is what it is. It was actually supposed to be another guy from the Giants, I think. But he was supposed to come out and cut a promo on Kurt Angle. I think he backed out at the last minute, so they replaced him with this guy. But Sting comes out to the ring and he calls out Bobby Roode. Sting says Roode versus Storm is going to be at Lockdown for the title, which if anybody watched my prediction show, that's exactly what I predicted would happen. Roode would win at Against All Odds and they'd build to Storm versus Roode at Lockdown, so I did get that right. Roode is fed up with Sting sticking his nose in his business and trying to screw him and putting him in all these matches. He had a match with Hardy at the start of the show, and I can understand why he'd be pissed off at Sting, but he basically kicks Sting right in the nuts and knees him in the stomach. He puts on Sting's sunglasses and then he lays him out with the title, and then he just starts to pound on Sting's forehead. Sting's bleeding a little bit. He puts the sunglasses back on Sting and he tells Sting he should learn to mind his own business. And that's the show. Like I said, I did like this Impact. I thought a lot of good stuff happened here, and there's not much to complain about really. So I hope you guys like this review, and I will be back tomorrow doing Friday Night SmackDown. I'm gonna do an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view prediction show tomorrow, and for people who like to watch my movie reviews, I will also be reviewing the new Ghost Rider movie. So check back tomorrow for a lot more. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed to my channel. Like the videos, leave some comments, and thanks for listening. Bye.